Hello there, and welcome back to this Java development course. So, last time we went over relational operators, and you had some homework to do. Your job was to extend the application that we created previously, and add in more than, less than, more than or equal to, and less than or equal to functionality as well. So, here is essentially what you should have done. So here I have Boolean more than is A is more than B. Then Boolean less than is A is less than B. Boolean more than or equal to is A is more than or equal to B. And less than or equal to is A is less than or equal to B. And then I just print the values correctly. And this is essentially the whole application. Let's go ahead and run this. And we can now input, let's just say 7 and 8. And there we go. 7 is equal to 8 is false. 7 is not equal to 8 is true. 7 is more than 8 is false. 7 is less than 8 is true. 7 is more than or equal to 8 is false. And then 7 is less than or equal to 8 is true. So let's go to input two of the same numbers. And there we go. 7 is equal to 7 is true. 7 is not equal to 7 is false. 7 is more than 7 false. False. 7 is more than or equal to 7 is true. And then 7 is less than or equal to 7 is also true. So there we go. That is essentially what you should have done. So if you got that, that's actually very good. If not, don't worry about it. Try to understand this code, replicate it, add some things to it, get creative, and you're good to go. So without further ado then, let's get into today's lesson. All right, so today we're going to be going over logical operators. Now, I'm sure at this point you're looking at me like, how many operators are there? And there are actually quite a few. But the point is, we're going to be using all of them later on. So it may not seem all too important as of now, but later on, as we start to get into more complex applications and start to discover new features in Java, you'll start to realize just how important and useful these operators can be. So let's go and create our class for today. This is going to be called logical operators. There we go. Public static void main, as always. Finish. All right, and there we go. Okay, so logical operators, how do they work? So logical operators are mainly used on Booleans. So let's say that we have two Booleans. Boolean t equals true, and then Boolean f equals false. There we go. Okay, I'm pretty sure there's actually only two logical operators. We have the and then or, and then not. There we go. Okay, so that is essentially the three operators, and I think, no, not two operators, three operators. Anyway, those are the three operators of logical operators, and here's how they work. So the and works a little bit like this. So if we have two Booleans, so let's go ahead, let me actually go and do system.out.println. Okay, and so now we can do t and f. So what will this do? Well, it will check if t is true, and then if f is true, and if both of them are true, then it'll return true. If either of them is false, then it'll return false. So in this case, what is it going to return? Well, we have true and false. It's going to be false. Let's run this. There we go. We get false. Okay, so that is the and operator. We also have the or operator as well. So the or operator works a little bit like the and operator. And or is just two sticks. So two of these little stick thingies. So the or operator works a little bit differently than the and operator, but the concept is essentially the same. So two Booleans, true or false, or whatever they are, and if either of them is true, then it'll return true. So in this case, t is true and f is false, so one of them is true, so it'll return true. So let's run this. And there we go. Sure enough, it returns true. Okay. And finally, the not operator. So the not operator just inverts the value that we have. So it goes before a Boolean. There we go. And so this will print false. There we go. So the not operator just, takes a Boolean, flips it. So if it's true, it becomes false. And if it's false, it becomes true. And then prints the result. Well, wait, it doesn't print the result. It just, just flips it. There we go. Okay, so now if we run this, we get true. There we go. So as you can see, it flips it. And so operators can actually be combined. So we can have flipped, false, and true, or, let's say true. There we go. And let's run this, and we get true. Since in this case, we have false and true, which returns false, and then that's flipped by this exclamation point here. So that's true or false. True is flipped, so that's false. True or false, and we return true, and we print true. So there we go. So that is essentially how we work with logical operators. Okay, so it's pretty simple, nothing too difficult. Let's create an application just like we did with the other operators. Very quickly, using the console, get two Booleans, and then, OR them, and so on. Let's do it. Okay, so let me go and actually comment this out. There we go. There's actually a handy feature. If you do command /, it'll comment whatever you have highlighted. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to create a new scanner, as always. Scanner sc equals new scanner. There we go. All right. So now let's go ahead and import it, as always, as well. And system.in. There we go. All right. So now we can go ahead and do Boolean first equals sc.next Boolean. Boolean second equals sc.next Boolean. There we go. And so now we can do Boolean ANDed equals first and second. There we go. All right. And so now we can do system.out.println. And then we do first plus and plus second plus equals plus ANDed. All right, there we go. Let's run this. Import, let's just say, not import, true and false. Whoops, false. There we go. True and false equals false. Since we have a false here, so in result, it prints false. Now, just so you can get an idea of exactly what happens when we input something not Boolean, it just gives you input mismatch exception. So in this case, it's trying to get a Boolean, but we just put T when it was expecting true or false, and so in result, we get this exception. So it's an error. So that is essentially how we work with logical operators. Now, let's assign you some homework. All right, so for homework, it's also going to be pretty trivial, just like we've been doing for the other operators. We actually, I believe, have one more type of operators to do, or do we not? Let me think about this. Yeah, we actually do have one more type of operators, the assignment operators, to do. So it's this and then the assignment operators, and then we're done with operators. So operators are a little bit boring, but they are crucial and they are very important to know. And I don't expect you to remember all of them right now, but then as we're, getting into lessons, as we're going to be doing this, you're going to start to understand them. You're going to start to see where they're useful. You're going to start to use them, and you'll see how you can create pretty complex applications using different types of operators. Anyway, back to the lesson here. So for homework, your job is to add functionality for OR as well as for the NOT. So invert. So, the exclamation mark. So pretty simple, just like we've been doing before. Shouldn't take you too long. It shouldn't be too hard. And yeah, I wish you luck. And I'll see you next time. Till soon. Hello. This is me from the future here. I completely forgot to mention, since there's really no way for us to invert the first, to use the inverted operator, it can only be used on one Boolean. So for the inverted operator, you're going to AND them. So first and second, and then invert that. So just that you can get an idea of exactly what to do, and no confusion. So there will be no confusion. So yeah, I wish you luck, and I'll see you next time. Till soon.